Hello, everyone. Mackie here, and welcome each and every one of you to the 2025 U.S. Open. And no, we're not talking about the golfing version of U.S. Open, where JJ Spawn actually won. No, we're talking about the tennis version of U.S. Open. And as you can see, we are 4 days out from the opening matches of the event that's going to take place in the Arthur Ashe Tennis Center the Billie Jean Tennis Center in New York at the Arthur Ashe courts and Louis Armstrong and some other courts down there. Collimore Nights from the August 24th, way down until September, like way down until September 7th, when we crown a winner for the men and then of course the women for the day earlier. Now, there is going to be a lot that's going to take place from here on out. So I decided to make my predictions for this entire US Open. Give me my 3 winners, 3 losers, and 3 underdogs from both tours and do some statistical analysis on them, playing wise, and all that kind of jazz. So I think we need to kickstart about this when we do the ladies first and talking about the 3 players that might win. Arena Sabalenka is pretty much the most obvious winner. This is not even a context, to be honest. Top ranked player in the world by a large margin, 18 tournaments played. And if you look at the stats, let's forget about the Elena Arabica matchup in Cincinnati. Let's forget about that for a minute. It has been a consistent year for Sabalenka, to be honest. A really consistent year. If we look down further, she didn't win she didn't win Indian Wells. She lost in Australia to Australia to Madison Keys, and then she won Miami, of course, overcoming Jessica Pegula. Then of course lost in clay to Jelena Ostapenko. Then won the Madrid Open. Then lost to Quang Zhang in Italy. Then lost to Coco Gauff in the Roland Garros. Then lost to Marketa Verderosa in the Berlin Tennis Open at the 500 event. Then lost to Amina Zavdova in the semifinals of the Wimbledon. And then lost to Elena Rybakina for Cincinnati. But overall, she has been more consistent. She has been to finals, couple of semifinals, quarterfinals in like one of them. She has been the most consistent player all around. And that is the reason why she's number 1 in the world. Now, the kicker is, like, this year she has won 50 matches, 10 losses, 3 singles titles, pretty much consistency. The problem is that she lost to Americans. She lost to Coco in France, Madison Keys in Australia, and Amanda Amasova in Wimbledon. That's 3 Americans. And oh, by the way, she's playing an American tournament. So good luck. But listen, I think her consistency has been so incredible to this point. And also, I think she's a defending champion of this tournament. Yeah, I think she's a defending champion. So she's also defending the title here from last year. So I feel like she is pretty much the absolute favorite. The power game is going to be on point. Her power can absolutely overwhelm so many players. So many players up and down the court. The range, the domination, the serving is going to be more important, of course. Backhand and forehand is also going to be key for her. I think she's a massive favorite. So I don't think I have any more context to talk about. She is, without a doubt, one of the favorites to win the whole thing. Along with the number 2 player in the world, Iga Swiatek. Yeah, I think we have to talk about Iga Swiatek, guys. Now let's just go deeper down. I think we're going to go deeper down in our rankings. By the way, let's see, 49-12 with 2 singles titles. Now you're thinking to yourself, Hakeem, 2 singles titles, I don't think that matters much. Oh, get around, Hakeem, get around. You gotta have to understand that. So we're gonna have to start. Of course, this is all taking place this year. Actually, let's just view more tournaments, by the way. Let's just go over the entire year. The entire year. So, kick off in the Australian Open when she lost in the semifinals to the eventual champion Madison Keys in a pretty close matchup, but pretty much like Keys was the better of her. Then we get to the Qatar Total NG tournament and lost to Jelena Aztepeco in this brutal fashion. I have never seen Iga Swiatek absolutely dominate. And then Maria Andreeva was she came out like a ball of flame. You know, an absolute ball of flame. Young age, dominated tennis world for for some months, of course, including winning like Indian Wells. I think she won Indian Wells. Yes, she did win in Indian Wells. She got clapped. 6-3, 6-3 to Maria Andreeva. Absolutely clapped. I don't think it's her. Yeah, I think it's her. Yeah, I think it's her. 6-3, 6-3. Brutal fashion in Dubai in the quarterfinals. Then Indian Wells, she lost to her again in a closer matchup, but lost to her again. And by the way, she went on to win the title, of course, in Indian Wells. Then she lost to what? Alexandra Ila, 140th ranked in the world. Like what? You beat you beat, Elise Mertens, Elena Svitolova, decent players, and then you lost to this, to a wild card. No, 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 not good. Not good. Not good for their quality. And then, lost to Ostapenko in Stuttgart on her favorite first surface, by the way, in clay. And I believe this is where the turning point of her entire career or entire year started. Well, no, it's not the Madrid Open, sadly. She actually overcome her revenge against Ila in a pretty much a close three-setter. Then beat Lina Noskova, then Diana Schroeder, then beat Madison Keys, but unfortunately lost to Coco Gauff and got brutally humbled by that. I mean, absolutely brutally humbled. But then came the French Open. And I think this is where the entire. Oh, nope. Okay, sorry. We have to go do one more tournament. We got to go do another tournament, of course. Lost to Daniel Collins. Another two-setter. Brutal fashion. It's just. And you have to feel like Iga Swiatek's year has not been great, to be honest. We saw her behavior not as great. She could be a sore loser sometimes. Uh Her playing style is not. Her playing style is just not great. Like, sorry to be not a tennis analyst, but she was not looking hot. Pretty much not looking hot throughout the entire year. No titles to speak of. Her dominance in clay that she used to win. She probably gonna win like one or two clay tournaments. Maybe in Madrid, maybe in Italy, but she didn't. And then everything pretty much collapsed across her when she played in the French Open. Now, Rebecca Stromoko beat easily. Amanda Raducanu easily. Jacqueline Christian easily. Elena Rabica pretty close, but pretty much easily. Elena Svitolova easily. And then against a heavyweight battle, world number 1 versus world number 2, she got demolished in the last set. Pretty close match, by the way. Pretty close match in the first set. And then pretty close match in the second when she won the set. And then Sabalenka just absolutely wiped her in the face of the earth. The person, by the way, Iga Swiatek has given her like the most bangles by any tennis player you can ever see in the tour so far. And to see her getting bangled on her favorite surface of clay, I mean, that's brutal. And by the way, she won the French Open like 3 times in a row. So for her dominance to end like that, many people must be thinking to yourself, I don't know, oh my God, Iga Swiatek is not looking great. She has not looked great so far. And I'm worried that, maybe her reliance on clay and maybe like the grass and the hard courts, I am not sure if she's good at every of them. Oh, that's where the turnaround begins. That is where the beauty of the turnaround begins. Now, unfortunately, she lost in the final to Jessica Pegula in Bad Hamburg, but she did make progress, beating Victoria Azarenka, Alexandra Zhovov, and then Jasmine Paolini. Pretty much another one of my favorites, but it's not on the list, but pretty much one of my favorites. And yeah, she did well. Went to the finals at the grass, WTA 500, and then the Wimbledon final. Woohoo! This is the Iga Swiatek that everybody wanted her for all year, and to do it on grass, mind you, not her favorite service, to be honest. Paula Kudermetov, Katie McMillan, Danielle Collins, fine. and then turn on the afterburners. Clara Thompson, Luneta Seminoso, Belina Bencic, who, by the way, came up from maternity leave, and then Anamanda Amenisova, who also came back from like mental health problems and all kind of jazz. And look at that scoreline. Cheese and Christ. That scoreline was brutal. I think it was like the second time we see the bagel in a major finals. Like, Adam Silva did not even play the game, let's be honest. It was a wrap from like game one to like nothing. And you got to give her credit. She played fantastically in that finals. No doubt about it. Like, the fact that she did it on her least favorite service and won, it's amazing. So finals in the WTA 500 grass tournament, and then win Wimbledon on grass. Showcase that she's not just a one-dimensional clay court dominant player. She can dominate in all other services. She can do well in other services, of course. Yeah, unfortunately, did not win in Montreal. Lost to Clara Thompson, of course. That's what happens when you go from a highly emotional Wimbledon win to like play another tennis match. Although you can say that this is like 2 weeks. This is like 2 weeks later, of course. Then, of course, recently in Cincinnati, just won again. You know, Anastada Potafo, Martina Kuzu on a walk-off, then Serena Cristia, not the biggest names, and then Anna Kaliskia, again, not a big name, and then Alina Rabica, ooh, big name, and then beat Jasmine Paolini for her second title of the year. Now you're thinking to yourself, Akeem, second title, and she's number 2? Yeah, of course. She has one less win than, of course, Arina Sabalenka. But consider that all her struggles have gone through from the earlier part of the year. And all the struggles she has gone through. Many people will question, and I don't know if Iga Swiatek can maybe win a tournament or a major in some cases, but to do that in grass, her least favorite surface, and in hard court, which actually she won a couple of hard court titles, but she's not like dominating hard courts most of the time. To do those two things, and now you're seeing like the whole classic cliche of it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And she's looking like she's pretty much in the mood to be one of the favorites to win the U.S. Open. In fact, I think I have a story right now. One of the players features about Iga Swiatek. Yeah, so I'm gonna need to dive in before I get to my third favorite, and pretty much like a whole slew of trouble right now. So it said she lost the first 3 games in Cincinnati and was serving 30 love when the match began to turn. A winner that nearly caught the centimeter line, and it was enough. And trust me, we have like a lot of weird calling officiating in the tournament. And then she managed to beat Jasmine Paolini 7-5, 6-4, 9 aces, of course. And she actually qualified for another WTA finals, which is amazing. So she said that this season hasn't been too easy. I had areas to improve, and it's not easy to win tournaments when everyone is expected to do too. Now, of course, she's occupying the bottom half of the bracket, one of the favorites, of course. And she said that celebrated with her team immediately of the win. She was shocked to win Wimbledon and Cincinnati tournament. She confessed later she thought had no chance of winning, which is pretty much obvious. I mean, let's be honest. Before Cincinnati was like the fastest service we had on turn, so now it has changed a little bit. It's slower. If I would have to point to tournaments that will be the hardest ones to win, it will be Wimbledon and Cincinnati. Like, wow. That is amazing to go through all of that, and is incredible. She said one of the greatest moments ever to do this in the fastest service and all kinds of jazz. It's amazing. It's amazing. So, let's be honest. The fact that she managed to go through, she's 24 years old, mind you. She's 24 years old. 11 WTA 1000 titles of the 13 she played. 11 WTA titles. All the 1000 level, the highest level before the Grand Slams. And only Serena Williams, the great Serena Williams, by the way, have 13. She's 15-2 against top 10 players and all this kind of jazz. And after like 2 Cincinnati Open semifinals, she's actually won the whole thing. So the fact that she's actually dominated at this young age, it's incredible. It's incredible. And I believe she's going to be the favorite to win the whole thing after overcoming 2 of her not so great services and actually winning it. Her game is incredible. Her technique is brilliant. Serving's gonna be more, her strong suit than anybody else. But I gotta say this right now: Iga Swiatek could be my favorite to win this one. I think it will not be surprised if we see a Sabalenka versus Iga Swiatek final. It will not be a shock to anybody. We see like a 1-2 final in most cases. So yeah, I have her backing up. Everybody's hooked. Everybody like she had a difficult season. She hasn't won many tournaments. She lost her dominance on clay. Everybody write her out. Everybody like she's becoming the forgotten woman in most cases. But now with her win in Wimbledon, now her win in Cincinnati, it's like slowly she's back in the conversation. She's back to like being the conversation, being one of the top favorites. And I will not be surprised if she wins this thing after pretty much like a difficult start to the season. It's the pretty much old cliche. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And she's finishing pretty strong. My third favorite is Coco Gauff. And we got some breaking news. She just fired both coaches before the US Open. Oh boy. Yeah. That is whew. Yeah. So she lost in the quarterfinals to Jasmine Paolini 2-6, 6-4, 6-3 to actually Jasmine Paolini, who managed to make the finals. And she decided to put the rear view mirror. In fact, she decided to fire both coaches, Matt Daly and JC Fallon, to bring in Gavin McKillen as a new coach. Now, Daly and McFarlane has been with her since she was a teenager. She was like they were there when Coco Gauff was like young and not doing much. I think she was there when she beat Venus Williams in Wimbledon, like in 2019 ish. And she's like 24, of course. They have been with her throughout her entire tennis career. And if you look at the entire year as a whole, like if we go like an entire year at that point, Coco Gauff is now number 3 in the world. In fact, right now the top 3 is just so large right now. The gap between number 3 and number 4 is that huge. It's almost like what? Almost like what? 2,800 points. 2,800 points. The gap between 3 and 4 is so enormous. So enormous. And if you look at Coco Gauff's entire year so far, in fact, I'm going to finish reading the story. I have to finish reading the story. She won 10 singles titles, 10 double titles, and of course, but the losses, man. The losses have been brutal. Absolutely brutal. So let's just go to when she won, she won the French Open. She beat Sabalenka. Sabalenka becoming like a sore loser sometimes. Coco Gauff played great. Let's be honest, she played absolutely great despite conditions and all kind of jazz. Coco played great. She played great. She earned that French Open title, and I cannot be happier. Post-French Open, however, it has been rough. Xingju Wang, the qualifier, lost 6-3, 6-3. Not great. Then Wimbledon, one and done against Diana Yastremska. Another two-setter, not great. She did manage to win, of course, a couple of matches, but lost to Victoria Mboko. Victoria Mboko. Now, you're thinking to yourself, Hakeem, how is she familiar? Well, just a little glance, and as you can see, the singles title. She actually won a singles title this year. I wonder where that singles title comes from. Let me just see. Website, just upload. I mean, she grew up in Toronto, by the way. She grew up in Toronto. And let's see. Oh, yeah. She won the whole thing. Yeah, she beat Naomi Osaka in the finals to win the entire tournament. After beating, of course, Elena Rybakina, of course. So, in the entire tournament, she beat Kenin, Gauff, Rybakina, and, of course, Osaka, former two-time major winner, of course, in these parts. But this is not the same Osaka as before because she has gone to like paternity leave and all kinds of jazz. So she is not the same dominance as she was like years ago. But to beat Osaka is amazing. And to win a tournament like this, it's amazing. So she just lost to a person who just haven't even know what winning a WTA 1000 looked like. And she's 18! She's 18! My lord! Anyways, Continue with Coco Gauff's demise. Let's be honest. So she lost to the eventual winner of Montreal, by the way, and then she made some progress. Beat Jing Wang, beat Yastreska, then beat Lourdes and Bonzenti, and then lost to Jasmine Paolini in Cincinnati, who, by the way, went on to win the finals and unfortunately lost to Iga Swiatek. And now, by the way, she has fired both coaches. Now, there's a lot of factors being dealt with: technical issues, mental and emotional fatigues, and double faults. Like, yeah, 16 double faults in that. I'm sorry, but I have to highlight this thing: 16 double faults. Now, the thing that really hurts Coco Gauff for most of her career throughout this point, is pretty much, the double faults. The double faults have been hurting Coco Gauff pretty much throughout her entire career. Now, she managed to handle it in the U.S. Open and the French Open final. She managed to handle that pretty well. But if you manage like 16 or like 10 plus double faults, you just cannot win. Just cannot win. Just cannot win. If you play okay tennis and you pull 16 double faults, you can't win. You just can't win. That is pretty much simple. It has been talked about it for years and years and years. If you pull out money double faults, you just cannot win. Plain and simple. Now, of course, McMillan is coming in as biometrics and all kinds of stuff. And, of course, she is talking about facing tremendous pressure and needed to succeed at all costs, which, like, every tennis player has gone through. By the way, everybody, she's 21 years old. I want to keep that in mind. She's now, 7 years older than me. And I just witnessed her winning the U.S. Open when she was, in her she's 19. I'm 28, for God's sakes. And she's still 21 years old. And she's, the weight of the world and the weight of the entire nation, by the way, playing her home tournament, mind you, it's pretty much going to get to her. Trust me. I know. Listen, trust me. We all know that feeling. So, do I believe she can win? Absolutely, she can win. If she can clean up the double faults, new coach comes in, clean up her technique, do well, play some solid tennis, I think she can win. I think she can do it. She already beat Sabalenka twice in major finals, by the way, in the U.S. Open and the French Open. I don't know about Iga Swiatek, her meanness and all that jazz, but I think she can do it. I think she can do it. Can she handle the pressure? That's another question. But I believe she can do it. I think she's my favorite because obvious, but also my dad and my mom. My dad is rooting for her. I'm rooting for her, of course. Why not? And I hope she can do well, and I hope she can avoid the pressure and all kinds of jazz. So that means, I got pretty much the top 3 players in the WTA so far being my 3 favorites to win the U.S. Open. So no surprise there. Next up, I have to go with the 3 players that pretty much going to lose. Oh boy, Jessica Pegula, come on down. You're going to be the first player that pretty much going to lose to an unseeded player in the U.S. Open. Yeah, so the daughter of the owner of the Bills, yes, that's actually a thing, is Bayu. She's a finalist last year, finalist for this U.S. Open. Only got absolutely clapped by Sabalenka. And let's be honest, I think her year has been pretty much, how do I say? Her year has been pretty much mixed, to be honest. Her year has been pretty much not Pegula-esque. Now, she's 31 years old, which is kind of like, when you're in your 30s, it's pretty much in the territory of in your prime, but slowly on the decline. We've seen it from all these players. When you're in your 30s, all that stuff, it's pretty much in your prime. But as you go older and older, it's kind of like you're falling off just a little bit. And with the competitive nature of the women's tennis scene right now, it's going to get harder to win those matches and those titles. Just ask Serena Williams at the tail end of her career. Just ask her that. 3 singles titles, though, is not just that. 37 and 16, pretty much good. I think we have to look at our matches. To see what's going on. I think we have to look at her overall performances, her matches, by the way, to see where it pretty much gone wrong. Yes, this thing is kind of slow, but stay with me here. And if you want to like, comment, subscribe for this video for all the more tennis stuff and sports. So this entire year for, Iga Swiatek has been, well, she started off, well, let's just see. So she actually won a tournament, by the way, in Texas, the brand new minted tournament. Now she started off in the Australian. She started off in Adelaide, lost to Madison Keys, who went on to win the whole thing. Then she won the Australian Open, lost to Olga Danalovic. What the hell? Like this? Against this? You're joking. You're joking, woman. Then you lost to Ekaterina Alexandrova, fine, a top 30 player, and lost 1-6 in both games, in both sets. Not great. Then Linda Noskova in a pretty tight matchup, especially in the second set, but pretty much not close. Then she won her first title, by the way, in her hometown in the ATX Open, which is probably the newly minted tournament that is being created, of course, in this. But they have some decent player. Alexander Tomanovic is joining, and then she beat McCartney Kelsler. All right, then. But a win is a win, I guess. Then she lost in she lost in Indian Wells to Lena Svenilova. Fine. Okay. Then she went all the way to Miami Open, only to lose to Irina Sabalenka in a dominant two-setter. Okay, losing to Sabalenka, not going to hurt. She beat Sofia Kenin to win the Credit One Charleston Open. Pretty decent, okay. And then Ekaterina Alexandrova lost. Then the Muta Djordjova lost to Miyoka Ochijima. Like, what the hell? Then Elise Mertens in Italy. Fine. Then Anna Kaliska in the Strasbourg tournament. 500. Fine. Louis Bosson in the Roland Garros. Now, Louis Bosson, by the way, was a wildcard person who just came from playing in the wildcards to make it like semifinals of the tournament, losing to Coco Gauff. And, of course, one of the victims was, by the way, to Pegula. So you just lost to an incredible wildcard player. Like I said, women's tennis is just so chaotic these days. Anyways, lost to Ludmila Samosova in Berlin. Then won Bad Homnan against Iga Swiatek, who, by the way, went on to win Wimbledon. So okay, not bad. You beat Emena Navrova, of course, in those cases. So you're not doing too bad. Then you lost to Elizabeth Corretto in Wimbledon. Magnificent. And then you lost to Elena Fernandez in Washington. And then you lost to Anastasia Stesova in Montreal. And then you lost to Magda Lenenti in Cincinnati. 37-16 with 3 titles and number 4 in the world. Now you're thinking to yourself, okay, Akeem, she's okay. Consistency not as great, to be honest. Now I'm not saying she'd be like, the Iga Swiatek and Sabalenkas of the world. That's fine. But the drop off from like US Open finalists to like, I don't know, not as good to be the favorites among the top 3, or maybe not even close to winning the whole thing, it's pretty much rough for her. It's pretty much rough. So do I believe she can win? She can. But I don't think she might have to. She might get to lose to like some wildcard player or like a top 30 player who hasn't done much in the last couple of years. Her serving, I don't know if her serving or anybody else, but her game is just not it to warrant me. Like I said, like she's a favorite in all kind of jazz. So I think Pegula is going to be pegged as a not so good enough to win. Not disrespecting her, but just saying. Now we're going to go to Biljana Bencic. And I think Bencic has their reasons. Let's be honest. I think we should look at the ranks. We should look at the rankings. Yeah, we should look at the rankings. So Bencic, by the way, just having a fantastic run at Wimbledon, all the way to the semifinals after going through so much, like literally so much, like paternity leave, all that jazz. She has gone through so much. Now, do I believe she can win? Absolutely not. No way. But you never know in women's tennis. We have seen this before. You never know what happens in women's tennis. Now, she's number 18th in the world. And if you look at her latest matches, to see where it comes from. Yeah, she has dropped off completely in the rankings. Like, look at this. My God. My God. She dropped off, a couple of years ago, pretty much for reasons. And she's 27-13 with only one title in her name, which is fine. Hey, consider that she hasn't done much. And by the way, made the semifinals to lose into the eventual champion, and she got absolutely beat. Fine. Losing to her is not bad. She lost to Mohova in Montreal. She lost to Kudermetova in Cincinnati. So she hasn't been like up there in terms of wins and performances. Now let me just see the one title she lost. She lost to round of 16 to Coco. Okay. She beat Beatriz Hadamaya and Carla Tosin. Two good players, of course, especially the Brazilian. Sofia Kenin lost, not too surprising. Elena Svitolova lost to her, not so surprising. And then Madison Keys lost in the quarterfinals, destroyed. After beating Coco Gauff, Amanda Amasova, those two good players, of course. Amanda Navarro, she lost to. And then she won the Maduba Abu Dhabi Open in UAE, beating Elena Ramakova, Vajosva, and some decent players. Now, of course, she beat like one top 5 player to win, and she also beat Ashley Kruger, who came out of nowhere and actually won the whole thing. Now, besides that win and the semifinal tournament, she's been beaten by some pretty good players, like some pretty top tier players, of course. And she's close to 30, which is pretty much like in the time of like she's in her peak, but she's kind of like slowly fading into like irrelevance in some cases. That doesn't mean she can win. Far gone, no. She doesn't mean she can even win. That means I feel like she is good enough to at least, you know, play well. She has her game going. She can serve well. She can do her backcourt. She can do her backcourt work. Forehand, backhand, those whole jazz. I think with her comeback and after everything she's gone through and her incredible run in Wimbledon just showcased that maybe she might win. But I don't think she has to do. I don't think she can do winning U.S. Open this year. I think it's going to take her like 1 or 2 years to even come back and dominate herself and win a couple of titles. I think she might be in. I mean, she might lose to another one of those strong players. Maybe a Sabalenka, maybe a Coco Gauff, and maybe an Igor Swiatek. Or maybe one of those top 10 players, of course. A Paulini, you can say that. Maybe she'll do that. But I don't think she might win. The last person on the list is Elena Rabinica. Okay, so let's just see. I think and by the way, I kind of bought your names. Rabanica is an okay. I think Rabanica is an okay player. I think she's a good player. 26 years old, all the way from Kazakhstan, by the way. Only one title she won this year. This year, mind you, not the previous years. This year. So if you look at her matches, she has been playing pretty well. Oh, okay. She lost in the semifinals to the eventual champion Iko Swiatek just recently. Then lost to eventual champion Victoria Momoko in another semifinal. So 2 semifinals in the US tour so far. Not bad. Then if you go deeper further, lost in semifinals to Lila Fernandez. So that's 3 semifinals in a row. 3 semifinals in a row. And lost to pretty much eventual champions, you can say? Yeah, I think yeah. And then lost around 32 to Clara Thompson. Then lost to Sabalenka in the quarterfinals. Lost to Tanja Maria in quarterfinals of the HSBC Championships, which, by the way, being added this year as a WTA 500 event, which is great. One of the most prestigious tournaments in all the grass courts in all the world. And the trophy is huge. Not the men's trophy. The men's trophy is huge, but the women's trophy is fine. Then Roland Garros lost to Igor Swiatek, went on to win the whole thing. Then the only tournament she won was the Strasbourg Open, when she beat Patrice Hademaya, another top player, of course. And then if you go further, lost to Bianca Andreescu, lost to Elena Svitolova, and you can say she won the BJK Cup qualifiers, but of course this is one of those tennis tournaments. Then Ashley Kruger, then Medreva, and all kinds of stuff. And then lost in semifinals to Maria Andreeva, who was on fire this year, at the start of the year. So she has been to 4 semifinals, and she has been to the last 3. Lost into Leila Fernandez, Victoria Momoko, who gone nuclear and won the whole thing. And then, of course, Igor Swiatek, who just dominates and won the whole tournament in Cincinnati. So her consistency has been really great. 41 wins, 16 losses, top 10 in the world. She has her game going. And you're asking yourself, Akeem, why have you picked her to win? Well, because of how top dominant the top three is. But maybe I could replace Coco Gauff. I think I could replace Coco Gauff. Because I think with a new coach and everything like that, she may have done it, but I think I could pick. I think I could make a switch. I think I can make a switch. Yeah, I'm gonna make Elena Rabanica her favorite to win and kick Coco Gauff out of the running to probably not win. So I think I give her my reasons. She has been consistent. Her game has been good. She has been doing well. I think she has a opportunity to make crack the top 5 in a couple of years. She's only 26 years old, which means the sky's our limit. She has been incredible. She has been incredible this year. Now, of course, not in the middle of the season with the the hard courts and the grass season and the clay court season. But right now in the hard courts right now, she has been so consistent, and I think her consistency can make her a semifinalist again, maybe winning the whole thing. If Iga or Sabalenka falls off in a couple of matches. And now to my 3 dark horses. 3 players that maybe have a shot of winning. Maybe a shot of winning. Let's go with the French sensation, Jasmine Paolini. Yeah, let's go. Oh, sorry, not French. What did I say French? Italian sensation. The Italian sensation. My God, I got it mixed up. So Jasmine Paolini having a pretty good year. I think last year was a pretty good year. Yeah, I could say that this year was actually good for her. You can say that this year was actually good for her. So if you look at Jasmine Paolini's entire year, and by the way, I think this video has run so long enough that I can do a part 2 of the men's tournament. So ladies first and then men's afterwards. 3 titles so far, 24-9, not too much matches to play with, but 3 titles so far. And I think I know one of the tournaments she won. I think I know one of the tournaments she won. She won, let's just see, let's go down. This tournament, the Italian Open. Actually, the Rome Open, beating Coco Gauff 6-4, 6-2, and becoming the first Italian woman to win this tournament since the 1940s, I guess. That's how long it is for an Italian woman to actually win this tournament. And she beat Jelena Ostapenko, Ons Jabeur, who, by the way, kind of fell off just a little bit, and now she's taking the leave, of course. That is impressive. Of course, that's one of her 4 titles she won. She lost to Marina Sakura in the Mutua Madrid Open, then semifinalist to Marina Sabalenka. No shock there. Then she lost to her again in the semifinals again. No shock there. Then Ludmila Samsonova in this round of 16. That sucks. Then lost to Sofia Kenin, of course, in the round of 16. Jelena Ostapenko in the round of 16. And if we go down even further this year, she lost to Svanilova. Of course, she won the United, of course, Cup. That doesn't... I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but doesn't mean anything. We're looking at singles matches. So she lost to Svanilova. Then, if you go further, she won the Italian. Lost to Svanilova in the French Open. Lost to Ons Jabeur as a lucky loser. Yeah, lost to Ons Jabeur. That's not great. Then Iga Swiatek in the semifinals, of course, in Van Homding. Then Kamila Rakhimova in the Wimbledon after she made the semifinals of that tournament last year. That's rough. Then Ayo Ito in Montreal. Then she made the finals, of course, in Cincinnati when she lost to Iga Swiatek. So she has only won 1 singles title. But if you notice that she won 3 doubles titles. 3 doubles titles, which means her doubles game has been pretty good. So if you look at the singles, she only won 1 single title and 33-14 in those times. I think it's already, default to doubles. So she's 33-14 in the singles tournament. She's number 8 in the world, only won 1 title, and that's Italy. So her year has not been dominant as it is last year. We know she bring a great game. And we saw her in the doubles. She won 4 titles in the doubles. She can bring her doubles game into it, bring up calls in the court, make her backhand, play some drop shots, all that jazz. I think she could be good enough to even win. But I don't think she's. But I wait. Hold up. I think she's good enough to win if her form can be good. If she can have that form that she didn't have all season. She might have one of those incredible runs as we see from like women's tennis players all the time. She may have to play like one or two great matches. She may gotta be bumped into like Elena Sabalenka or one of those top players, and she might lose. But if she managed to get all her cards together, I think she could make a deep run. She could make a deep run, win the whole thing. Who knows? That's why I put her like a dark horse. Next up is Emma Raducanu, and by God, she. By the way, for anybody who don't know, I think she was the U.S. Open champion from way back when, like way back then, like years ago. Probably the most unlikeliest U.S. Open finals we ever seen between her and Leylah Fernandez. Now, while the latter has been pretty much hit or miss so far this year, the former has been falling off just a little bit. But my God, my God, she is back, ladies and gentlemen. She is back. Maybe back to pretty much win the U.S. Open again. But she is back. She's only 22 years old, so it's like her fall off is pretty much understandable because like she finally won the U.S. Open. She got all her fame. She's British, which is like lot of praise. And winning a major title is huge, and then all the pressure and all the media and all the kind of stuff, and her game kind of fell off just a little bit, which is understandable. So, and mentally, it's not been great. I think she already talked. I think she's already dealt with like a stalker being dealt with in the Wimbledon Open. Thank God they actually deal with it. I know my analysis could be wrong. You can go down to the comments and see if I'm right or not. But she has gone through a lot in her career, and thank goodness she has come out of the other side. And yes, she has not won any singles titles, but that does not mean the entire story. She has been pretty good pretty good, and her renaissance has been something to be deal with. So if we go down further, let's just go down further with all the doubles matches. By the way, let's just go even down. So yeah, she doesn't have a great year in terms of titles, but you can understand consider everything she's gone through. Lost to Iga Swiatek in the round of 32, and then lost to Kristina Buska in the Singapore, then lost to Venezuela in Abu Dhabi, lost to Alexander Andreev. So it's like one and done to the last in the three tournaments after Australian Open. She's not looking great. Then she won a match, hooray. Then she lost to Mahova in Dubai. Darn. Then she's going back to one and done, losing to Ucha Jima. Then she made a run, by the way, make it to the Miami Open final when she beat Emena Navarro, beat Amanda Anisova, and then lost to Jessica Pegula, who, by the way, went on to win the whole tournament. Yes, she went on to lose to the finals, Jessica Pegula. So it was like, okay, Miami Open kickstart her career. Pretty not bad. Then, one and done again, actually two and done, loses to Martina Kostyuk. My goodness, my pronunciation is bad. Sorry to everybody. Then she made a run, ranked to round of 16 in Italy when she lost to the eventual finalist Hugo Goff. Okay, not a bad, decent run. Then lost to Daniel Collins in round of 16 in Strasbourg. Then lost in the Roland Garros to Iga Swiatek. I mean, to be honest, that was Iga Swiatek. What are you going to do? And then, of course, she made a run, losing to Qin Sheng. Again, another good player from China. Losing the quarterfinals, not too bad, especially in her home country, by the way. And then the Alexis Eastbourne tournament, which is, of course, lost to Maya Joint. Then, of course, the championships in Wimbledon, lost to Arena Sabalenka. So, again, nothing you can do about that. So, her year has been so far it's been okay. Not great highs and great low, not great highs. No titles to speak of course, but she has been okay. Her Miami Open is like the most glaring obvious, of course, the domination so far. But she's also like unknown players, known players. She had been like mixed, of course. But of course, she's just building herself back up, to get her career back up mentally and physically. And now you've seen the fruits of her labor. She's actually making some deep runs, of course, but not as deep, of course, like the Miami Open. Then we get to DC. She beat Osaka. She beat Sakuria, which, of course, two wildcards, but pretty much good players back then. Beat Martia Koskova, who, by the way, is a top 30 player. And, of course, lost to Anna Kaliska. But she made semifinals, which is pretty much good. Unfortunately, she lost to Amanda Anisova, also another good player, by the way, in the round of 32. And then she lost to Arina Sabalenka in the Cincinnati Open. So far, she lost to like three, let's just say two good players, of course, the two finalists from Wimbledon in the last two tournaments. So again, not great. 35 in the world, 24 and 17, no titles to speak of. That doesn't mean she can play great. She got everything. She is reforming herself. She actually played doubles to like Carlos Alcaraz in the U.S. Open doubles fiesta that's going on right now. I think the finals is kind of like today, of course, or tonight, by the way. And the stadium is packed right now, really much packed. I think she's gonna do well in this U.S. Open. She might be the favorite to win it because, of course, she's been there before. She's won it, but she's won it like a little bit of a teenager. But now she's like in her 20s. She's matured a little bit. She's learned and understand what the tour feels like. She learned and understand the pressure and everything expected to her. I think she'll do well. I think she may win U.S. Open. May might happen, or who knows. But she may have a good run in herself. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is Qing Sheng. Now, we all know what this Chinese player is capable of. Of course, gold medalist in the US in the Olympics in Roland Garros, dethroning Iga Swiatek. In case everybody noticed, she had this pretty much weird serve. I hope she can fix her weird serve. Not to disrespect her, but I hope she can fix it. And this year has not been great for her after the highs of last year. She's also still 22 years old, also figuring out the tour as she goes. 19 and 11, not great. She's still top 10 in the world. No single titles to speak of, but the fact is she has gone from like nothing to becoming like the biggest star in China since Li Na, mind you. And she's also the GOAT, of course, in tennis, especially around these parts in China. It's a huge deal. A huge deal for Chinese tennis. Now, yes, her year has been falling off, but hey, give her credit. She has been battling, of course. As you can see, she done well. She's in decently well in the HSBC Championships in London, by the way. As we look at her matches, by the way, for the statistical reasons and all kind of stuff, she lost in Wuhan to Iga Swiatek, to Ivana Sabalenka. I know this is last year, but stay with me. Won against Sofia Kenin in Tokyo, mind you. And then, of course, she made the finals, of course, lost to Coco Gauff in Riyadh. Now, this year, of course, she lost to Laura Segman in the Australian Open, Ons Jabeur in Qatar, then Peyton Stearns in Dubai. Oh, my goodness, she's not looking great. Yeah, so in case you haven't noticed, her rank, she finished the year as the number 7 player in the world. And by the way, she was high as number 5 in the world. And now she's ranked 8, then fall off at 9, losing to Iga Swiatek in the quarterfinals of Indian Wells. Then stayed at 9, losing to Arina Sabalenka in the Miami Open. Again, losing to these two, no problem. Then Ekaterina Alexandrova, as she climbed back to number 8 in the world, of course, losing the quarterfinals in the Credit One Open. Then lost to Potapova in the Madrid Open. They made a run and made the semifinals of the Italian Open, only losing to Coco Gauff, the eventual finalist. Then lost to Arina Sabalenka in Roland Garros. Again, no disrespect to Arina Sabalenka, dominant, good player. And then lost to Amanda Anisova, who went on to make the finals in Wimbledon, of course. She beat Amanda Raducanu, and of course, another dark horse in a race to win. And then lost to Katerina Shinova in the championships in Wimbledon. And that's the last you see her. No other tournaments, of course. She hasn't played in Cincinnati or DC or Montreal. So she's kind of like ease herself as she get ready for the US Open grind, as you can say. Now, do I believe she can win it? Absolutely, she can win it. I think we all know how capable it is. She can win it. But to go from a high from last year to like see if you can win like a tournament or two is pretty rough. And she lost to like pretty good players like Sabalenka, Anisova, Amanda Anisova. These good, decent players. So I think she's probably going to lose to one of those, of course, eventually. But if she manages to win a tournament, it'll be a huge sensation in China. A huge sensation. I think that should do it for part 1 of my predictions on the US Open. Part 2 will be focusing on the men's. And let's just tell you something. I think the men's is kind of like, we all know who our top two is, and everybody else is kind of like plateau, to be honest, in terms of performances and all kind of jazz. But we're gonna predict them. We're gonna predict them and tell you the reasons why they're gonna win, why they don't win, and all kind of jazz. So, anyways, thank you for watching this whole thing. Please like and subscribe for more sports coverage, not just tennis, football, all that jazz. And I'll see you next time.